Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological mental health coaching related paradigm. We do that as often as we can, usually, hopefully, several times per week. We do that for your listening pleasure and to hopefully bring you some clarity in your daily life, daily living exercises. Anyway, we continue to do that for you, and please feel free to reach out to me and or my team on social media at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either way, we'll get you in touch with me or a member of my team. We can move forward from there. Signs you might be an empath. We get a two audio series on that. The first is intuition, the sixth sense, gut feeling. When you are an empath, your gut feelings tend to be right more often than they're wrong, and they tend to be more vibrant and more vigorous than others. This ultimately means that you have a lot of challenges as it relates to kind of feeling things that aren't in line with what other people want to hear, or you might have a strong vibe positively or negatively towards a decision someone's making, and you have to find a way to anchor that with hopefulness and knowing the wisdom that people are ready to receive versus the things that they are not ready to receive. And that can be super challenging, especially for someone who doesn't have good control of their empathic abilities and or the higher sensitivity. Um, the next thing is many empaths hate conflict because they can feel the emotion of the conflict. They can feel the emotion of the desire to have resolution, and also when the resolution doesn't come, there's a lot of negativity around the idea of why things don't happen. And so, like, in other words, it can be exhausting to have somebody in your life if you're an empath who doesn't make progress or hasn't moved forward or continues to complain or carry on about the same things. Rumination can become a major problem when an empathic person is constantly in a period of life rumination, just because it ultimately doesn't ever end well and also feels like a whole bunch of wasted and extra expended energy. And that ultimately feels like wasted time, wasted energy, negativity, and all sorts of other uncomfortable things. The next thing there is to continue with kind of looking at things from a over over expectation. In other words, some empaths see things so clearly or feel things so clearly through their emotional core that they only are able to see the outcome that could happen if a person wanted to make positive changes. And so that becomes problematic for a number of reasons, and ultimately it leads to a stronger than normal situation. It leads to a difficult expectation. And, you know, then it's like, I want you to change. And so that leads to oftentimes pushing people in directions they're not comfortable in going, not committed to going. And then the pushiness creates emotional imbalance in the relationship, either overinvestment on the part of the empath or rejection or hostility from on the part of the other person, just in the sense of things being out of balance. It doesn't necessarily have to remain that way, but it can become a super major challenge as it relates to kind of moving forward. And then, so the next thing there is kind of looking at things from the level of the need to recharge, the need to spend time by oneself, and sometimes that's misconstrued as just being a loner, being overly isolated, being super negative, or having difficulty. Uh, there's differences in how that comes along. Um, when we begin to understand how to find ways to be honest with the way we feel, but also, making decisions based on how we can impact others in a positive way, there is a necessity to finding balance within emotions. And that's another thing, too. The need to recharge allows us to balance emotions when a person is empathic, but if they don't know how or they don't take the time, it can be problematic, especially the longer that goes on without resolution. So hopefully this is helpful. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.